Hey, YT. We are on day 17, trucking along almost 2:30. I cannot believe it. And so we are diving into day 17. I am live. Hey, Miss Anthony, welcome in over here on TT. And super excited to be able to dive into tonight's training or today's training on our journey of building an online business that I know that you'll absolutely love. Hey, Coach Audrey, welcome in the building. I know that I'm running a little behind today, had a pretty long day, but I was like, I have to get on live. I got to get on streaming to teach this day 17. And so over here on the YT side, I actually teach over on TikTok at in between 7 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. daily, 7:30 a.m. daily Eastern Standard Time. So if you ever want to catch me, I usually do like a preliminary foundational online business training every day. And so you can catch me on that side. And so as you come in the building over here on the TT side, I want you to tap up that screen. I'm going to give the TT side because I am running a little bit behind, maybe by like 10 minutes, there about a second to be able to come in. Thank you, Coach Audrey, for tapping up the screen. As we know, if you are in the mentality and the mindset to go ahead and to build an online business, you have to shift your mind from being a consumer to understanding the importance of being an action taker. And so that is something that is definitely amazing to be able to practice. Hi, hello, Maya. I'm trying to read you guys' names. Sometimes it's so hard to make sure that you're saying the right name as you come in over on the TT side. So I'm not going to waste any more time because, like I mentioned, we're in a 30-day training and I am running a tad bit behind. And today we're going to go ahead and dive into day 17. So if you are finding yourself to be a woman that just works a regular 9 to 5, which is to be commended at the end of the day. I am not the type of person that has something against a 9 to 5. I think that it is amazing if you have a 9 to 5, but you have a mentality now to be able to have multiple streams of income, then this life is going to be for you. If you have a mentality that says that you are watching the signs of the time, you understand essentially the importance of having multiple streams of income, because you also understand that in a lot of different arenas, unfortunately, we don't have much stability. I oftentimes will say when I was a younger person coming up, I always admired the fact that if you had a government job, you may have security. But we are learning nowadays that government jobs don't equal security, right? Most oftentimes, it is important that we, at this particular time, secure our futures. And you can have the ability, thank you so much for the follow, the short stuff. You can have the ability to be able to do just that by creating multiple streams of income. So don't be the type of person, okay, this is the coach in me, to feel as though you don't want to be a part of the cliche of entrepreneurship. At the end of the day, when the trends go away, okay, in anything in life, you just want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do for you and for your family, for yourself, obviously, that meets your needs, okay? And so sometimes we can get caught up in the cliches and the trends, and it's not about that. I know for me, if you've never seen my face before, my name is Tamia Denise, and I had the opportunity after going through a divorce and experiencing job loss, being fired from my 9 to 5 at the time. I went ahead and created a remote cleaning business. And in a couple of months, I was able to earn 5 figures in that particular business. And now, as I'm scaling that business, I have the opportunity to be able to teach female entrepreneurs that are aspiring to be able to create businesses that they love. I'm also a single mom of 3. And so if I can do it, then you can do it. There is nothing that's going to stop you in the way of achieving your goals, but you are your greatest enemy. Okay. And so you have to shift that mentality and mindset and learn how to become an action taker. And so I'm going to test you by that. If you're just coming in over on the TT side, do me a favor and tap that screen. TT is a very engaging platform, and essentially they believe in community. And so if you pay attention to when you decide maybe as a consumer to come on the platform, what happens when you get in someone's room, essentially, is that you have to be engaging. So by you tapping on the screen, it's not just to help me to feel good, essentially, what you are doing. Thank you so much, Red. I thought your name is Red Rose. I thought you were giving me a red rose. This phone is so small, okay? But welcome in the building. It says that you just got the #1 gifted badge. Great to see you here. But all of that being said, when you begin to tap up the screen, what happens is that my particular live goes or has the opportunity to be sent over to the FYP page. And then you give me the opportunity to be able to teach female entrepreneurs. And a lot of times you don't know, thank you for liking a live, Red. You don't know the situation and the circumstance that a person could be in. And I remember when I've gone through really horrible things in life, all I wanted to do at that particular point was to connect to a community, to a ladyhood, to women that absolutely understood where I was and what it was that I was going through. So if you would do me the favor and start to tap up that screen, we want to be able to get to 1K likes. We have a couple of people in here and we can get there, and that will send me to the FYP page. So as I am giving away all of this amazing information that's going to be able to help you to build a business, if you go ahead and you implement it, then we can get some more aspiring entrepreneurs in here. So I definitely appreciate you. And so thank you so much, Aja, for liking the live. I totally appreciate you. And so we're going to go ahead and dive right in. If you are a female entrepreneur aspiring, or even if you're an existing entrepreneur, then this training is going to be great for you. Today, we are going to be talking about storytelling that sells. And I'm even going to have the opportunity, because I can be a little nerdy, to pull in some scientific facts so that you can understand the seriousness of the position that you should be playing as an online business owner. Okay, you are shifting your mentality, even if you're just starting your business, from believing that you are at a place to where you can't do certain things. What you need is a shifting of your mindset. Essentially, there's some things that have to shift from you being just a consumer to you now becoming the lady CEO, literally, of your dreams. Okay, and I'm not just talking. Essentially, I'm helping you to understand that you can really have the opportunity to be able to shift your lifestyle. This is someone that went through a divorce after being married over a decade. I got married at 22. I'm 41 now. Got divorced a few years back. This is someone that lost her corporate job, right, in the middle of trying to learn how to be a single mom. This is someone that persevered and was able to create a completely different life outside of the one that I had previously known, right? Because I was determined to do so. And I was able to do that with 3 children, okay? And not a whole lot of support at the end of the day, consistently anyway. So if I can do it, and I'm dealing with your mindset right now, we're going to get into the training, but if I can do it, you can do it. You just have to believe that you can do it. And not only do you need to know that you can do it, you have to go ahead and become an action taker. Thank you so much for liking that live. If we can get to 1K likes, then there is a female entrepreneur that's aspiring to want to build an online business that's going to be able to catch my training. So if you've never seen my face before, once again, my name is Tamia Denise, and tonight we are on day 17. I am teaching you all of the things that you need to know as it relates to building an online business. I'm not just talking about putting together your logo. I'm not just talking about doing the cute things in your particular business building endeavor, but I'm teaching you the back end things, the systems, the strategies, everything that you need to be able to put together an online business in the next 30 days. If you have that mentality that says, thank you so much for the follow, Aja, that says, Agia, it's such a beautiful name. But if you have that type of mentality to whereas it's like, oh, I'm not going to start my New Year's resolution, or I'm not going to start my vision board until January 1st, sis, you're late. You're late. You should be starting the things that you want to do in 2026 yesterday at the end of the day. Because what you have to understand is what you won't do, other people will do. And at the end of the day, the world needs for you to show up so you can do the thing that you know that you were purposed to do. Okay. And so we're going to dive into our training tonight, and we're going to talk about the power of storytelling. storytelling that absolutely sells, storytelling that absolutely matters. Okay. And so when we have a business, it is important for us to understand that we have to become storytellers. I don't care what type of online business that you have to learn the art of telling stories. So I'm going to be able to give you the framework that's necessary and really give you a different perspective and a back end dive into what that looks like. And so if you're a note taker, you can pull out your phone, take notes, or pull out a piece of paper and a pen, kind of do it old school, but you definitely want to jot down something that stands out to you. And then I'm going to turn around and give you action steps, because I'm not the type of teacher, I'm not the type of coach that believes in you sitting down and chugging in information. You got to take action if you're going to get to results, especially if you're at a place to where as you want change, you know that you absolutely deserve change come 2026. Okay. Did you think when I lost my corporate job and I went through my devastating divorce in a position to where I never ever dreamed that I would ever be, after I had already done the work to build my life? Do you think I had the time to kind of sit around and consume information? No, I did not. And maybe your situation is not as drastic as mine, but at the end of the day, every single one of us never knows what tomorrow holds at the end of the day. So you always want to stay ready. That's what that circumstance taught me. I have to stay ready in any circumstance. And I'm not doing it out of fear, but I'm doing it out of responsibility, essentially, for what it is that I know that I value in my life. Okay. And so storytelling. It's important that we have storytelling in our businesses. Why? Because when you can tell a good story, right? When you can tell a good story, then you have something that has the ability to be able to convert. So I want to give you guys just a little understanding on how our brains work. This is really powerful when I researched and read about this. Okay. And so a lot of times you do have something in your brain called mirror neurons. Okay. And if we have some scientists in here, hey, Gloria, let me know if you know what I'm talking about in the chat. Right. And with your mirror neurons, right, plus emotions, what happens is that when you're a good storyteller as it relates to your business, specifically your content, then that equals trust. How does this work in the scientific world? Okay. So essentially what happens in this particular, like, I guess, perspective, or this particular scientific framework, I'm trying to find the words, right? What happens is that in our brains, we have special nerves, essentially, right? We have cells called mirror neurons. That's what I just talked about. And what happens is that they fire both when we do something and also when we see someone else doing something. So me sitting here telling you about something that's going on in my life or something that I've been through, all of a sudden there's a world of emotions that essentially well up in you, right? You feel a sense of empathy about me telling you about what I went through at the end of the day. And so all of us have experienced that, right? This is mirror neurons. And so neurons, excuse me. And so I'm definitely not scientific. Okay. I do all things online business very well, but when it comes to scientific things, that's not necessarily my thing. Okay. So forgive me. So for example, when you see someone smile, okay, I'm smiling at you. A lot of people always tell me, you have such a beautiful smile. You instantly feel a bit happier, right? So if I'm sitting on the camera and I'm smiling at you, let's say you scroll past my content, you're like, wow, this lady's smile is radiating. You know, it's picking me up. Let's say I was going through something. And that most oftentimes happens. And it happens because of the fact that we have something called mirror neurons. Please forgive me over here on the TT side. If you see me looking this way, I'm also on YT streaming. All right. Or when you see someone cry, your brain mirrors that emotion and all of a sudden you feel empathy. I literally was on my phone at some point today and I saw this influencer and he saw this woman. She was on the street with her kids and he essentially met her about 3 times. Okay. She began to tell her story, how she got homeless. And he ended up rewarding her with a car over time. Her kids were able to go to daycare for free. He gave her $500,000 that helped to seed into the purchase of a house. And before I knew it, Like I'm literally sitting, okay, with my phone crying. I'm sitting there and I'm crying, okay, because of these mirror neurons. All right. So it's important for us to understand that in storytelling, you want to be able to connect your storytelling to your marketing. Because anytime you have the opportunity to be able to personally tell a story, especially when it's connected to real emotion, your brain essentially views this as mirroring. It's an experience. So people will see you and your story or hear you talk about it, and then they mirror that emotion and it builds connection. I think that is something that's so powerful. And when we can tap into someone emotionally, we feel a connection. Ladies, we know that, okay, from dealing with gentlemen. When you have an emotional connection, specifically think about maybe it's your husband or a guy that you really like, you begin to trust him. All right. And at the end of the day, regardless of what it is that we feel about the marketing world and online business, emotions sell. All right. And I know this to be the truth. Anytime on my TT, I post a video that surrounds my story of how I went ahead and I made 5 figures with a remote cleaning business after being fired a couple of days before Christmas, right? As a single mom of 3, people tune in. One of the videos on my TT that went viral, it has like 17,000 views and 600 likes. That particular video, hey, Sonia Marie, it went viral because of the emotion. I literally did that video 2 hours after I lost my corporate job at that time. And I was filled with emotion and I wanted to capture it. And my message in that particular video was start your business. Unfortunately for me, but fortunate because everything is working out, thank God. I had already started to build an online business community years ago. But when I went through my divorce, I had to prioritize creating a brand new life. I had to prioritize taking care of myself with dealing with all of that emotion being connected to going through a divorce and trying to figure out how to take care of my children in a one-parent household, right? So I had to pull back from those endeavors. And so on that live, that literally was my stamp. Okay, I did it for my reasons, but I knew from having a marketing background when I was fired from being a marketing consultant. It was a startup company, it was a hot mess. Okay. And so, all of that being said, I knew that there would be people that connected to the emotions that I was feeling through that video. Okay. So, emotions sell. And it's not that you are being, like you're trying to take advantage of people, because sometimes people can look at it like that. No, you're authentically being who it is that you are. And at the end of the day, we all have a story. Okay. We all have a story. There is something that you can connect to your content. I don't care if it's your reason why. I don't care if it's something that you're inspired to do because of something that you saw, something that you want to fulfill the pain point of, like all types of things. Okay. And so I wanted to teach you guys the importance of understanding mirror neurons. I don't think that you'll ever forget that, because you have to understand that particular principle when you're creating stories in your business. Mirror neurons plus emotion equal trust. All right. So now when you're creating your content, it's not that every piece of content has to tell a story that's connecting essentially to emotion, but you definitely want to create content like that. So when I get on here and I tell you that you want to get to a position where you're not getting paid 26 paychecks in a year, well, what's 26 paychecks? Getting paid every other week, bi-weekly. Thank you so much for the follow, right? That triggers emotion. If you see one of my posts on social media and it says, hey, you keep saying that you want to go ahead and create digital products, but guess what? It's somebody else online making money because you won't get online to do it. Gosh, that triggers emotions. And I want it to, because I want you to go ahead and take action at the end of the day, okay? That's exactly what you want to do as an online business owner. You want to connect to strategy and you want to be intentional, okay, in every single thing that you do, 100%. And so the next part of what I really want to share with you is the importance of understanding that as you're creating content that has emotions, you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what's happening. One thing that I hear content creators say most oftentimes, or online business owners, I don't want to keep creating the same piece of content over and over again. Well, why are you looking into it that deep is always my question, right? Procrastination. To me, I've stopped the procrastination. I've made serious progress this week. Yay, Liz. Come on, let's clap it up for Liz. I love to hear it, Liz. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yes. Okay. And so, Liz, I've literally been on here probably like 5 times. You're building the Etsy store right now, right? And you teach in terms of Etsy. I thought I saw that in your particular link in bio. And you said that you were going live. Telehealth, forgive me. I'm telling you somewhere in the back of my brain, but I remember now. I'm building telehealth. Yes. Okay, awesome. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about at the end of the day, being an action taker. Now we just got to see you go live if it connects to your particular business, right? Because you have an amazing follower. You guys go follow Liz. She has 200,000 followers. Okay. And she's doing big, big things. Okay. So when you get a chance, go follow Liz. Liz didn't just get there. She did the work at the end of the day. So if we can celebrate her as a fellow lady entrepreneur, then we definitely want to be able to take the time to do so. I'm so proud of you, Liz. And that's what it's all about. It's about making impact. It's about doing what it is that we need to do as action takers at the end of the day. So absolutely kudos to you, right? So I'm looking forward to what it is that you continue to create. And if you go live, go ahead and slide in my DM so I can pull up, okay? And so we're continuing to talk about the importance of mirror neurons. We were talking about a little bit of science so we understand that when people are watching our particular content, that we have to have stories that connect essentially to emotions, because that makes you a good marketer. And I think sometimes the other thing that I see when people are building online businesses, they're like, oh, I don't want to be named as a digital marketer. Yeah, but if you're going to build your business, you're going to have to be a digital marketer. You might not necessarily, hey, refining wealth, hey, embrace, evolve. You won't have to necessarily name yourself as that, but at least connect to, thank you so much for the daily heart me, definitely connect to understanding the science behind why you're doing what you're doing, right? I'm the type of person to whereas I believe in delegating, okay? I believe in delegating. I believe that when you are at a certain place of pivot in your business, that it's important for you to make sure that you're focusing on the more higher level things in your business, right? So then that's when you pull in a virtual assistant. That's when you pull into hiring in certain areas of your business. I know in my remote cleaning business that I did not want to be in a position to where as I was cleaning. Okay. I knew that I wanted to be on the operations side. I wanted to be on the phone booking. Okay. Meaning to say, booking the business, talking to the leads, talking to the decision makers, right? Because that's something that I knew that I was good at. So essentially, what you have to realize is that there are so many different compartments, obviously, to building your business, but you want to make sure that you're doing the necessary research. So back to talking a little bit more about stories that sell, storytelling that sells. One thing that I also find is that you have to make sure that you're paying attention to your analytics. Like I said, a lot of time content creators will create a particular video and the video will go viral by your standard, not by what other people are saying at the end of the day. Okay, we don't care about what other people are saying. If you have a video, and let's say your videos have been getting 50 views, and then you get a video that has 500 views, you can name that as viral if you want to. Okay, because maybe that particular piece of content did better than the others. And what do? You pay attention to the analytics. Over here on the TT side, you go into TT Studio. You look at how long people have watched that particular video, and then you keep making it over and over again, because at the end of the day, people consume content differently on different platforms, even if it's on the same one. Like I said to you guys, anytime I create a piece of content that's emotional, okay, I'm telling my story, I'm telling different things that I've been through, that content sells. I will have a whole bunch of women in the comments basically saying, ready, whatever the call to action is, ready. Can you shoot me a DM? I want to be able to build a remote cleaning business. They'll send me a DM and say, I'm a single mom. Can you please help me? So at the end of the day, once again, there's more to the dynamic of storytelling that sells than just primarily creating the content. You want to become very savvy and very intentional in every single thing that you do in your business building endeavors. It is absolutely, I would say, imperative to do, because if you're not careful, right? If you're not careful, you'll find yourself having a hobby, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to set out to have a business and then you're not producing in the business the way that you want to go ahead and produce. Okay, that's not a good feeling. I've been there in the beginning of my journeys because I didn't necessarily have the strategy to be able to get the conversions because I didn't really understand the back end of what I was doing. It was frustrating, but that's a part of the journey. But when when you're told better, then essentially you can always know to do better. All right. So now you know when you're creating content, stop just throwing things up. All of the effort that it takes you to just, oh, I'm just going to post today. You might as well get some kind of intentionality so that you can see conversions at the end of the day. Remember, your content, your stories that sell have to have call to actions, right? It has to have intentionality. It has to have a roadmap for your potential customers and clients to be able to follow. That's why CTAs, you always hear me talk about those, are really important. Call to actions. Okay. And so I want to be able to give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions regarding your potential content that you're putting out right now. Do you have content right now in your business building? If you already have a business that connects to storytelling, can you guys let me know in the comments? I'll wait for a second. Okay, do you have content that connects to emotions? Have you told a part of your story? Have you told your why? If this fits into your particular business model, if you have an online business, or if you don't have an online business, and you want to create a business that maybe connects to your particular story, let me know in the chat. All right. Hey, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Good to see you. And so we have no one. All right, that's fine. Maybe you're just not at that place right now. And so another way that I find that you can be more efficient in terms of connecting your stories to your particular content is by going ahead and utilizing ChatGPT to be able to do so. So remember, when it comes to ChatGPT, most people utilize that platform at like the lowest level. Okay, and what I mean is they don't train the platform. And so I have prompts that I sell. If you look at the LINKMIBIO, whether over on the YT side or over on the TT side, that essentially will give you the prompts that you need to help to train your ChatGPT, okay, as it relates to your business building, because you specifically have to put certain prompts in the system to be able to get the most out of it, because it's an information-based system. And if you don't train the system to get to know you, if you don't make chat your best friend, then you're not maximizing the particular platform. I use chat in my business and even in my personal life every single day. I literally call my chat Biz Buddy. That's the name of my chat, Biz Buddy. Okay, we have a special relationship. Okay, and chat knows me because I know that that is my administrator. Okay, that's my friend that's helping me to be able to create content, storytelling content that sells. Chat knows my story in and out. So anytime I need assistance in terms of creating content, or I can't come up with content ideas, I'll put it in chat, and chat already knows what to spit out. If I'm at a place where I'm like, oh my God, I'm kind of stuck and I don't know exactly what I want to create when I'm batching my content, which is another thing. All right. So you're not just going to go into throwing content up there because we're doing things intentionally, but you want to have an opportunity where as you batch as much content out as possible. So for me, yeah, I might get a piece of content thrown up on my social media pages that particular day, something that inspires me that I see, because I never primarily at this point just get on social media to consume the content. Not to say I never do, but most oftentimes on my feed, it's going to connect to different influencers that inspire me. Okay. So if I put up a piece of content the day of, it's something that inspired me that I feel like potentially I need to go ahead and remake, and then plug in that differentiation clause that I talk about, right? We're not copying, but we understand that there is nothing new under the sun. So you're going to put your secret sauce on something that you already know is working. Okay, at the end of the day. So do we still have no one, all right, that has created content in your business, in your online business? Let's say if you sell, well, if you have an online business, you should be selling online, obviously, if it's an online business, or more so you should be creating content, right? Because these platforms are absolutely free. And my thing is, like, we don't even know in the next couple of years if TT or YT, if they're going to be like paid platforms. They're public platforms now, but somebody might get savvy, like, oh yeah, in order for you to be on TT, you're going to have to pay $9.99 a month. And most people are not doing that. They're not doing that. So while the platforms are free, I am telling you to utilize them to the best of your ability, especially if you're not savvy at creating ads and you don't really understand funnels, you don't understand tripwires, you don't understand customer journey. You need to be making sure that you create at least intentional content that's going to be able to connect to your people. Another advantage of creating storytelling content, right, is the fact that each time you create a piece of content that now connects to the pain points of your people, but also invokes emotion, it's like a lottery ticket. That's what I love about content. And that's why it's important to stay consistent. So if a platform that you research is saying that you need to go ahead and post 3 times a day, just post 3 times a day. Just do it, because they're giving you this particular strategy to be able to get you to where you need to be. And that's the strategy that works. And my mentality goes on the fact that, oh, shoot, if I don't at least do the 3 posts a day on whatever platform, I have to understand that my competition is willing to do it, or they have systems that are willing to do it. Okay. And they'll get the sales instead of me. All right. So there is also a piece of framework that I want to give you that connects to the previous training that we just did. Okay. So when you're thinking about your storytelling content, you want to be able to lay out this framework, the before, okay, where you or your client started. That's why I told you guys when I created that video and I had lost my corporate job, I wanted for people to see the beginning of my journey. Okay, as someone that had just got fired from their corporate job, just went through a divorce, I was afraid, but I knew that I was empowered to be able to do what I needed to do. And I believe that I was in God's timing for that. That's my story. That's my belief, right? And then you also want to be able to show the breakdown, the struggle, the conflict that's invoking the emotion. Then you also want to be able to show the breakthrough, the solution, the lesson. Okay. And you want to be able to walk through that through your own examples, step by step, because people don't know what's coming next. You got it as a business owner, excuse me, and as an expert, show that. Okay. So my challenge to you is that this particular week, we literally got, I'll go ahead and count Saturday and Sunday. I want you to create content, and you can save it in your drafts on whatever platform. That is storytelling content. All right. I don't care what type of business you have. I want you to create storytelling content. Now, if you're not front facing, and let's say you have a faceless business in particular, there's still a way that you can tell a story, even if it's through a testimonial. All right. And if you're at a place to whereas I know, like with a lot of faceless pages that are theme based, you could still utilize a piece of content, even if it's not you, to be able to invoke that emotion. and connect to a particular struggle, a breakthrough, a lesson. Like you see this all the time. Like you might see a really famous thought leader. Okay, let's say particularly a female, and people will utilize that person's platform and whatever their articulation is, if it connects to their particular theme, even if it's a Facebook page, and post it. And it still invokes emotion because it's about the message. It's not necessarily about the person, even though the person obviously can add some clout. Okay. Hey, Tamara's World, to that particular type of content. So this can be done in different arenas as long as it's online business, even if it's a faceless page, or if you are the face of your business, or let's say you have people creating content for you. I know my VA for the remote cleaning business, anytime that she created different pieces of content, she went ahead and she utilized storytelling content, even if it wasn't like word based. Okay. Even if it wasn't word based, there still was like an action happening at the end of the day. Okay. And anytime on that platform, I do voiceovers because I love doing voiceovers. Okay. If there's an Airbnb unit being cleaned, then I'll do a voiceover on the back end, okay, of the content that kind of walks you through what the pain point is. Or I'll say something like, we were able to connect to getting this Airbnb clean for our clients, so that they didn't have to worry about the stress. And prior to, they couldn't find cleaners. You can still tell a story at the end of the day. All right. So you literally have, we'll count Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to come up with batched content that connects to your story. Okay. Because we know that storytelling sells. All right. So what I want to offer you is the opportunity at this point to go ahead and grab my prompts. Okay. Because like I said, in our storytelling, sometimes we don't know exactly what to feed ChatGPT. And it is very important that we're putting different prompts into the system. Hey, Bruce, okay, that are going to spit us back exactly what we're looking for. You don't want to just be typing any and everything in there. And I guess if you're new to the journey, you could, but if you could be able to have specific prompts, that's why anytime if you look at an expert and you watch them and they talk about ChatGPT, they will even give you examples of prompts that have to go in the system. I know anybody that I follow, I see that with. It's not something that's like super foundational, especially when you're training the system. It's a robot and you have to train it. It doesn't know all things. Even when it pulls up different things that you ask it, obviously it's pulling it from the internet, but it might not necessarily be specific to your thing. Okay. So that's why it's important to have prompts. So if you hit the LINKMIBIO, we know we got to spell things out over here on TT, then you'll have the opportunity to grab those prompts. Okay. And over here on the YT side, even if you're watching the replay, you can go ahead and click on the LINK. Sorry, I got to spell it out over in the description. And then you'll have the chance to be able to grab those prompts as well. I have to make sure that I put the link because I think I put the link to my newsletter over on this side. So I'll update it when we get off the live. But essentially, I just want to encourage you to create content with absolute intentionality. You want to create it with clarity. You want to create it with precision. And essentially, you want to get the sale. That's what this is all about. All right. And obviously, there are other layers. But as a business owner, you want to be able to create storytelling content that sells. Okay. So that's going to complete our day 17. All right. Tomorrow, I think I can give you guys like a preview of what it is that we'll be talking about. And we're going to talk about building trust through proof. All right. Social proof that you need within your content. Talking a lot about content because content is, I call it queen. At the end of the day, I know people say king, but play on words, queen. All right. So if you have any questions, you can always shoot me a DM over at the Intentional Ladies CEO. Thank you for riding with me, Coach Audrey and Bruce. I totally appreciate you guys. And if you have any questions along the way, and if you're looking for a coach, there are a few coaching spots that I have with this upcoming month. I would love to be able to coach you. I teach female entrepreneurs how to build online businesses. And in my particular coaching sessions, what the process essentially is that I'm connecting you to an application. We sit on a 15-minute consultation that you'll pay $15 for as your investment to let me know that you're serious. Because where we invest, we tend to be serious. And so after that consultation call and me connected to your application, I have the opportunity to learn more about what it is that you want to build and what you need my assisting, coaching, consulting on. And then once you're qualified in terms of us building together, then we sit with each other for 4 weeks. I do two-hour weekly sessions. And then you also have access to my business phone number where you have the opportunity to be able to send me messages if you have any questions. Okay. And I get back to you within 24 hours. All right. So if you have any questions, if you want to build an online business, okay, and you want to start yesterday, hit the link in my bio. You can grab my online business bundle. You can have the opportunity to be able to connect to me through my newsletter, any way that you desire, coaching, all of the different things, because my heart is to be able to help you to build a business that you absolutely love. Okay. You guys stay sweet. The time is 8:30 p.m. and your girl needs to get her beauty rest. All right. So if you have any questions, shoot me a DM. Thanks for riding with me over here on TT. I will see you guys tomorrow between 7 a.m. and 7:30. All right. You guys stay sweet. Bye.